Hello and welcome to the podcast where good trivia gets rewarded and bad lies are punished. This is What's the Fact?
But will they catch the lies? They won't with me. I'm so good at it. Welcome to the show. My name's Ryan Whittle. His name is Warren Robertson. And we are delighted to have you join us on this very artistic episode.
In the languages episode, did we talk about how many official languages South Africa has?
I'm sure we did.
Because today, dating the podcast, today it changed.
Yes.
Today we got 12.
Yes.
South Africa now has 12 official languages. The sign language has become the 12th official language.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it got signed.
I thought you were going to make a joke.
No, it got signed in today by Cyril Ramaphosa. So our podcast is outdated. Please go back and correct it in your minds.
Yeah.
If you would just imagine we're saying 12.
And if you don't have a dude in the bottom left-hand corner doing their thing, you're going to get cancelled.
Too late for us. Good. So this is What's the Fact. This is about our year. We're kind of at the year mark now.
This is great.
Yeah.
Or, as they say in Birmingham, great. So,
I don't think that's what they say in Birmingham.
I'm a late bloomer and I'm only just getting into Peaky Blinders, so great.
Wow, you are very late.
I'm a late bloomer.
It's like I watched Sopranos only during the pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I finally watched the whole thing.
Was it good?
All right. Good. Anyway, but
cheers.
yeah,
cheers
so now we're
to 1 year. Hey?
We're a year in, and I've promised a
52.
lot of professional changes coming in this second year. So let's hope that I'm ready to live up to expectations.
Yes.
Number one amongst them, we're going to be changing a lot of the thumbnails. We're going to be waking ourselves up. Going to be making this thing look as professional as possible, so that the people who watch this don't have to watch it and be embarrassed about it. They can watch and look at it and be like, "Wow, these guys really know what they're doing."
Yes. And we're going to go continue our social media kind of, hey, this is us thing.
Yeah. We're gonna take it more seriously. We're gonna be the Gustav Klimts of the art world, as opposed to the Pablo Picassos
or the Van Goghs.
Or the Van Goghs.
We're only going to be famous when we,
yeah. Let's hope that's not true. Let's hope it's not generations from now who discover us and think, wow, these guys were undiscovered geniuses. Because I don't want to be an undiscovered genius.
No, I want to be a discovered genius.
That's right. I don't want to die penniless in the gutter and for people centuries from now to go, oh, he's amazing. I'd rather be disgustingly wealthy right now and then die and people forget me.
Yeah, I want to, and then even if we go into ruin and die penniless.
Later.
Because it was all spent on
drugs and and building
yachts.
Churches and stuff. Like,
yes,
like medieval lords. Waste all our money commissioning artists and building churches. Why does nobody do that anymore? The billionaires today, they lack imagination.
Yeah.
They all want to go to Mars.
Or to the Titanic.
Yeah.
Oh, did that get a lot of, I was like, oh, shame, that's terrible. So many people making jokes. And I'm like, sis, too soon. And they're like, nah, they were billionaires.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I've felt a lot of pressure to not make jokes. Pressure very similar, I would imagine, to that experienced by billionaires on a submarine trip to the Titanic.
No, because people are mean, and they're mean to everyone, even billionaires. And
yeah, I know.
When they're showing look, it's terribly unsettling to watch the videos of, oh, look at this, and we control it with a little Nintendo thing. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Ended up not being that amazing.
Yes, it's 5 years from now. This material is going to kill. No, but the thing about it is that the billionaires today are less imaginative because at least, wealthy organizations like the church, like the Knights Templar, were paying people and keeping artists alive.
Yes.
Artists now, they're currently striking in America, the writers for all the movies and the TV shows, because they're totally not paid a living wage by the TV production companies and whatever. So artists now basically starve to death, whether they're successful or not. These are people who work for big successful TV companies. They don't have any money. So billionaires need to start patronizing the arts again.
Oh, that's
they need
nice.
to start commissioning. Like, imagine if U2 released a new song because Elon Musk paid them enough money to do it, and Banksy would only release an art, like spray paint the wall of a bank if somebody like George Bezos gave him $100,000.
Yeah, but
You know,
they should.
special.
The arts, man, the arts. Otherwise, our cities are going to be ugly.
Yeah,
Well, they're already
how
ugly.
are they going to get symphonies? New symphonies are not coming rich and fast enough.
No.
Why? Because nobody's paying for them anymore.
Yeah.
No one is commissioning a symphony in C, as Cake said.
Hey, I mean, one day I'm going to write a book on what churches should do different, and that's one of the things. That's like point number 7 of 7.
Is spend some of their money on art.
Mm.
Yeah, no, they've decided they're going to spend it on pretty much themselves. They're big fans. Although I'm sure that those like Vatican Guard, their uniforms can't come free.
I know.
They must get those made every year, probably in a traditional fashion.
Yeah.
They've got a team of guys that have to hunt bears with their hands, just like they used to in the 1200s.
Those crazy Swiss things with their square hats and stuff.
That's right. Crazy Swiss things. Oh no, you're dead.
But
You're
it's
dead,
art,
man.
I'm quite excited about art because I'm really I can just gawk at the beauty of it, but I'm not very good at any of the visual stuff myself. But I do just love it.
I love how every second podcast you begin by going, "I'm really terrible at this particular thing. People should listen to me because I know nothing about this at all." I mean, the thing about I mean, and that's true. Look, that's true for 99% of us.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing. And artists, artists also, they don't know necessarily what they're painting. That's why they won't talk about it. What's the meaning of this painting? No, I don't know. I'm not talking about it. Meaning for you.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah, you've got to look at it and you've got to get meaning out yourself. And generally the meaning is $250,000 or and up at a Sotheby's auction. That's what the meaning is. The meaning is a shitload of cocaine. So speaking of guys that really went a bit crazy when they did become famous, I've spoken about him already. Gustav Klimt. I want to start with Gustav Klimt. I'm gonna start with him. You know Gustav Klimt, all right? Gustav Klimt. No, no. Well, you probably
have you mentioned him before because I got a recurring thing in this one.
You'd probably recognize his pieces if you saw them because they are the most sold reproductions in the world by museums. So museums sell no art more than they sell Gustav Klimt, and the ones that he's really famous for are the ones from his golden phase, which is primarily The Kiss, and his 2 portraits of Adele Bloch-Bauer, which are these so The Kiss you'll recognize it's the man sort of bent over like that, like an L, and then the woman underneath him, and it's all gold. The whole thing is kind of like a goldy color with mosaic patterning.
Okay.
He developed a style when he went and he visited the Basilica in Venice. And he made these paintings, but the paintings themselves weren't, I mean, they were big. They made a lot of money. And The Kiss belongs to the Austrian government. They bought it before it was even finished for the equivalent of $250,000 in today's money. And they've never sold it. And it's just hung in the same place forever. So he was famous and successful. But they really kind of came into popular imagination because they were stolen by the Nazis and then rediscovered. The portraits of Adele Bloch-Bauer was stolen by the Nazis and rediscovered years and years later, and this kind of brought them to the attention of the world. And in fact, there's a movie about the first one, Adele Bloch-Bauer one. I can't remember the name of it. Woman in Gold. There you are. That's the name of it. And these sort of really brought Gustav Klimt to the forefront. In 2006, when they kind of rediscovered it, and then the Austrian government took ownership of these, and then the family that had them confiscated by the Nazis sued the Austrian government to get them back. They got them back, and they sold these 2 things. And the one sold for $135 million.
Good bloody grief.
The other one sold to Oprah Winfrey, of all people, for like $88 million.
Can't bloody
in 2006. Yeah, Oprah had cash. Splash $88 million on a single painting. Ching. That $135 million one, at the time in 2006, was the most expensive painting that had ever been sold. And it was sold to the guy from the Lauder, Estee Lauder. Oh, yeah. From the cosmetics business. So he bought it on behalf of, I think, the New Gallery in New York. But that $135 million that he paid for it at the time was like the highest that had ever been paid for a painting. And then from that moment on, paintings just went through the roof. And Oprah subsequently sold her one, Adele Bloch-Bauer 2, for 150 million just a couple of years ago. I think 2017, 2018.
What's a ROI, hey? What a return on investment, hey?
Almost 100% in like 11 years, 12 years.
Art.
Not bad, eh?
So the art world, the business of it all. So if this Estee Lauder guy buys it on behalf of a New York art gallery, then will it hang in the art gallery, but it's still owned by the owner? So the art gallery is making money, plus they're storing it for the dude.
So this whole thing is, we're now into quite a shady sort of world, because you see, paintings are only worth what people are prepared to pay for them. Anything's only worth what people are prepared to pay for them. So if your company buys a painting for X amount to hang on its wall, that is worth that much.
Yeah.
But then it can sell it over there in a different country for that much again. So you're now moving the money. You're not paying taxes on the money. There's all these kind of so is art being sold for that kind of staggering amount because it's worth that staggering amount, or is it being sold because people have just generally agreed that it's worth that much? And the guys who developed NFTs thought they would be able to do the same thing. They would develop NFTs and then nudge, nudge, wink, wink. The rich and famous would agree to buy these from each other for these staggering amounts of money, so that they could move money around and avoid taxes and this sort of thing. But in general, that was now rejected. But art, classic art, people are still doing this with. So it's quite a sort of shady world. But these things, the truth is, these things do sell for a staggering amount of money. But now Gustav Klimt, he didn't only paint those golden paintings that he's famous for. He used to paint a lot of landscapes and quite a lot of erotic art. He used to get in trouble because he painted the early 1900s.
Okay.
So he got in quite a lot of trouble with like staid conservative Viennese people. Lived in Vienna most of his life. Because his stuff would be a little bit pornographic and his models would be showing their nipples and whatever.
All right.
And he used to get in quite a lot of trouble. And he was a bit of a weirdo himself. He would live in his mansion, and he would wear muumuus. You know, the long like shawl.
Oh yeah.
With no underpants on, and he'd be like barefoot. And then he didn't hang out in cafes and whatever. And he had hundreds of cats. But like the cats used to just sort of roam wild around his studio, piss on things. Genuinely, he had an attitude that was like, it's fine. Cat pee is the best fixative. And it turns out it's not the best fixative. In fact, it's ruined millions of dollars worth of art. But that's kind of how he lived his life. And then at the same time, he was this Lothario who it's alleged had 14 kids and slept with like all of his models.
Geez.
And so he's this dude. But the one thing he hated was self-portraits. He always said, no, why would I paint me? I'm just an artist. You want to know about me? Look at my art. Like, I'm boring.
Okay.
I paint other more interesting people. And obviously he got in quite a lot of trouble for it. He must have been kind of harassed by the art world about it, because eventually he wrote an entire essay on the subject titled Commentary on a Non-Existent Self-Portrait, in which he wrote, and this is the quote, "I have never painted a self-portrait. I'm less interested in myself as a subject for painting than I am in other people, above all women. Whoever wants to know something about me ought to look carefully at my pictures." Yeah, so my fact is, that's a lie. He painted himself.
Gustav Klimt painted
Klimt.
himself.
Yeah,
Klimt.
Yeah, Klimt.
Klimt.
Yeah, Klimt.
That is an odd surname. For me, maybe for Austrians, it's the third most popular.
Is Gustav like a normal name around your parts?
Gustav.
Everybody in Vereeniging called Gustav.
I knew a few Gustavs.
You need a couple Gustavs.
Well, my little fact, which is coming up later, is touches upon a bit of a self-portrait matter as well. And so you're saying one does exist? He definitely painted himself.
No,
you're not saying
he
one
painted
exists.
himself.
You're saying
I'm saying he definitely painted himself is my fact, despite this whole essay about how he's not interested in painting himself and people, it's too boring to paint yourself. And
maybe he put paint on his naked body and jumped on a canvas.
No.
like
in
the Big Lebowski.
No, listen, I don't want to. Yeah.
Mind, Jeffrey, I'm coming through, Jeffrey. Oh, then she comes. Maud comes through.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
I'm familiar with the human
I'm not
body.
playing some sort of pun game with you. I'm saying he painted himself in that he put an image of himself to canvas?
I think you're saying he did. I'm just saying, what a fascinating character. I'm going to say he did. I have no idea, but I think a bit of a pervert, yeah. I think he likes a bit of himself, yeah. I'm saying he
He
did.
liked a bit of himself. But then why are art historians harassing him to paint himself? Like if he was just actually painting himself.
Well, what are they going to say? Da Vinci painted himself. We know Van Gogh painted himself. What are they going to say? You're too self-obsessed. You're too much of a, self-centered. What's the criticism? What's the problem?
I mean, he was effectively like an old Catwoman.
Yeah.
Before old Catwoman were a thing. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Wandering around his home in his moo with his cats pissing on his stuff.
But yet his reluctance to face himself, maybe that's fascinating psychologically as well. I find the psychological aspect of painting yourself fascinating. I'm saying it's because like part of me wants to go, he was self-obsessed, but maybe deep down he didn't like himself. So he chose not to paint himself. But I'm not, because you're pushing me for an answer with kicking me under the desk here. Joking is not.
No. You must.
I'm gonna say
you must get yourself totally twisted up. You must come out with an answer that you actually.
Does to me.
You at the end of this, you go, "Why did I answer that? I didn't mean to answer that."
Maybe I should go with he actually loathed himself and therefore never.
You don't have to give me the psychological breakdown of Gustav Klimt. Did he paint himself? That's all you have to answer.
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
No, that's my final answer.
This is your final. You've changed your final answer now.
I know.
And you're happy with it.
You did that thing.
Did I muddle you up?
You muddled me. Okay. So I'm going. He didn't paint himself.
Okay, no, he did.
Oh, bugger.
Just one time, though.
Yeah.
Just one time. He used to be part of a group called the Künstler Kompanie, and they were commissioned to do 10 ceiling paintings for the Berg Theater's Imperial Staircase. But the commission itself wasn't enough that they could afford to hire models for the paintings. So the company basically got the three artists, firstly Klimt, his brother Ernst, and Mach, along with his sisters Hermine and Johanna, are all spectators in the painting, while his brother George portrays the dying Romeo in one of them. So they painted themselves in.
Oh, really?
Because they used each other as the models for the various things.
Yes,
so
of course.
The one painting that exists of Gustav Klimt.
I wonder if it's in its style, is it sort of that realism, or is it like? Well, that's the thing.
He changed his style quite a lot over the period of his career. He had a very long and very successful career. Made a lot of money, and chose to become a weirdo with it. In fact, like he used to go and paint landscapes up in I think it was his sister-in-law's family's home, and he used to go up there and then paint them, and the villagers all thought he was a weirdo. They used to effectively, they had a name for him, and I forget what it is now, but they used to call him like the wood gnome, because he was just like strange, like the wood troll. He's just a strange man out there painting things, and that, like a lot of his paintings, they reckon are flat or in a certain style, because they think he was looking through a telescope from his studio and painting like that, rather than going out into nature.
Wow.
And painting like that. Yeah, he's a weird guy. Anyway.
Jeez. Well, your fact has ended in sort of Vienna. Where's this painting?
The whole fact was in Vienna, because he basically never left. Yeah, he basically never left.
So then what's the best way to get to Paris? You're going to hop on a train? Train. I want to take you to a museum.
Are you going to go via Zurich, or are you going to go via Frankfurt?
We're taking the train via Zurich, or where's the other place?
Or Frankfurt.
But we're going to Paris. And when you get there, now you know Europe, you've done a bit of Europe and traveling, you love museums and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Have you been to a place called the Musée de Cluny in Paris?
No,
haven't you?
No.
If you go into one of their rooms, they've made the whole room just for
Ocean's
this.
12. Museum
the Cluny
of ER.
His
guest appearance on Friends.
Georges Bizet, Georges Clooney. No, Musée de Cluny in Paris. The one room in there is dedicated to this work of art, and it is a grand series of tapestries called The Lady and the Unicorn Tapestries. I actually listened to the audiobook called The Lady and the Unicorn. which is historical fiction. So they don't know much about this the tapestry's origins necessarily, but the lady kind of invented one, or she thought of how it might have come about, and wrote a beautiful story.
Those are great books. I love when people invent history.
Hey,
that's this Dan Brown. What a genius.
Yes, but you've got to. The book made me want to go to the museum
and to actually just see it.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, Dan Brown tourism is a huge thing. No, I mean, the places that Dan Brown mentioned are sick to fucking death of Dan Brown fans.
Well, people are going to do that with this episode of the podcast. They're going to go to Vienna, then they're going to dash to Paris, and my stuff is not going to spoil the plot, but it's all in Europe. It's all in Europe within train journeys.
If you love your art, Paris is somewhat famous for it.
Yes.
It's got some shit.
So there's 6 tapestries, and they are very large. Seriously, one is very big. It's what, 3 meters?
Bigger than 4 inches. No way.
Yeah, no, it's like 3 meters high. It's very big. It's like covered a whole wall of a dining room of a big castle,
of a big thing.
Yeah.
So it was so big. It was so big it covered a big thing. Yeah. That's very big. That's a big thing.
That was one.
And the other one was also big like that, or bigger than that.
No, they were like big.
It also covered a big wall.
Definitely.
So it was so big it covered a big wall.
Yeah, but I mean, have you ever seen a tapestry from an old medieval vibe? Have you in real life with your own eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's 6 of these things in the series called The Lady and the Unicorn. They're in the Musée de
somebody really cared about The Lady and the Unicorn story to make 6 very big tapestries that, about the same thing. Tell a story.
Yes, absolutely. They tell a story, and that's part of the. Okay, so here's my fact. Let me just hit you with a fact, and I'll tell you what I know about it a bit more. But the fact is that they've spent a large part of their history recovering from, or struggling under mold and water damage.
The French.
Yeah. Well,
the
tapestries.
Oh, the tapestry.
Yeah.
Not the French.
Yeah. Mold and damage and storage issues. That's the large part of their history was being rescued from being destroyed by mold.
I would imagine that the reason they're famous is the exact opposite of that. Because if you think about it, right, what would make these arbitrary tapestries where we don't know the history of them, we don't know anything about them, except that they're just like a lady and a unicorn, I'm guessing. And they must have worked out some history. They must have seen something in the tapestries. There must be things that give them clues as to the story, but maybe they don't know the initial story. But this wouldn't make a famous tapestry if it was just another tapestry that had been ruined or left to suffer under mold, because there must be millions of those. I'm guessing the thing about these that makes them famous is that they are basically immaculate, that they've been looked after extremely well, and that also that they've got a picture of a cock on them. No, I don't know that. A unicorn cock.
The cock that never made it.
That explains why the Franciscan friars who made it originally really cared about these.
Well, before I reveal the answer to the fact,
reveal it.
The Lady and the Unicorn. Just the actual description is a modern title given to a series of 6 tapestries created in the style of Millefleurs. Do you know Millefleurs?
Yes, Millefleurs.
Am I saying it right?
I have no idea.
You're bluffing, aren't you?
Fleurs is flowers.
Yes.
And it's also that fleur de lis is the royal.
Yeah, and mille is
1,000,000.
Well, it's thousands.
1,000.
Yeah,
okay.
so 1,000 flowers, because in the background, that's kind of what you see. It's exquisite work. It takes forever. Woven in Flanders from wool and silk, from designs drawn in Paris, around the year 1500. This is incredible. And the set is on display in Musée de Cluny. And I'm saying it's a large part of its history was stored badly and had to fight off mold and damp And
I think you're filled with lies. I think
All
you're
right.
filled with lies.
Well, I'm afraid I'm telling the truth. Tragically, the tapestries
Hate
were
everything.
they were rediscovered in 1841 by a chap, Prosper Mérimée, in Boussac Castle.
Prosper Mérimée is not a real story. How dare you make fun of Gustav Klimt and then deliver a casual name like Prosper Mérimée? That's
No,
not a name.
it's a true story.
Nobody's called that anymore.
When he discovered them, they'd been suffering damage from their storage conditions. He found them in 1841. In 1844, the novelist George Sand saw them and brought public attention to the tapestries in her work at the time, most notably a novel, Jeanne, in which she correctly dated them to the end of the 15th century, using the ladies' costumes for reference. Nevertheless, the tapestries continued to be threatened by damp and mold until 1863, when they were bought by Edmond du Sommerard, curator of the Musée de Cluny in Paris.
When you said that, threatened by damp and mold, I imagined a kind of Home Alone situation where damp and mold are the two wet bandits. It's kind of like constant threats. I don't know what goes on up here that's what I pictured, but I must drink less.
And so I don't know if they were stored upright or folded and stuck in an attic. I don't know what the story is, but they were stuck away and discovered, and now they hang in the Musée de Cluny, these massive, massive tapestries from Millefiole. They were very, very expensive, exquisitely woven, like Flanders wool and silk. Tapestry making was the shit, man. It was the shit.
Yeah, and billionaires had to pay for that, right? Like that's what they used to do with their money.
Yeah, and the beautiful story is 5 of the tapestries are commonly interpreted as depicting the 5 senses. So there's always a lady in there, and there's always a unicorn and a lion. And in some of them, there's a monkey. But in all of the first 5, there's something that she's doing with the 5 senses. She's either listening to something, or she's looking at herself in a mirror, and the unicorn's also looking at himself. She's listening to a bird, and the one time she's tasting some honey. But I mean,
it sounds less interesting than you initially sold it.
Well,
you know how I said I was bored by The Sopranos?
No.
Listen, I don't know how long I could look at these tapestries.
Oh, no. You've got to see them.
Oh, really? Okay.
And taste hearing. The 6th displays the words "à mon seul désir," which means my soul's one desire. And so that's gone like, shucks, what is the meaning and the story behind this tapestry? And of course, Tracy Chevalier, an American who wrote the book, The Lady and the Unicorn, she tries to, in fiction style, maybe suggest.
Because Americans can't leave well enough alone.
Hey, yeah. I mean, but there's a lady and there's a unicorn and there's a lion and there's a monkey in some of them. And they are exquisite, man. They are exquisite. Oh,
have you seen them?
No, just the pictures.
Oh, okay.
I wanna. And
the
badly wanna.
Yeah.
I want in the audiobook, but I so badly want to travel to Paris to this. I'm gonna land at Charles de Gaulle, whatever. Just catch an Uber to Musée de Cluny. I'm just gonna walk in and say, "Where's the tapestries?" And I'm gonna go there, and it's like a pilgrimage.
There's probably a French word. Alliance Francaise has made it forbidden that anybody calls them Ubers in Paris. We have a French word for this. It is Trazon de Uber. And you have to use that word in Paris.
Yeah. But I mean, the themes before this one. The themes before this was, because it was like usually the dining room of a big castle or palace.
Like a really big
chateau.
Like a big castle.
Yeah,
like these things are big enough to cover a big wall.
Then it's like, we want to see something great here for my guests.
So were they hung together or separately?
Together because of the story.
It must have had 6 very big walls, this dining room.
Yeah.
So did they know where it possibly could have been hung?
They've got theories, man.
Because surely there aren't that many dining rooms with much wall space. You know?
Yeah. So what was mostly the theme before they discovered this lady and unicorn story was battles, great battles that were won. The tapestry of the whole big and horses and things. And
Battle of Hastings is a famous one.
Yeah, you got such a weird theme of these 2 animals side by side with the lady.
But you know, the lion and the unicorn, they are quite often on heraldry. And there's the nursery rhyme about the lion
and the unicorn fighting for the crown.
That's right.
The lion beat the unicorn all around the town.
There you are. Very nice. Well done. Well done.
So, man, I love it. So the book, aided my enigma around this, but I do want to go see it. It just sounds magnificent, massive. It's like a carpet on the wall, but it's really big. And it's made of millefeuille.
I mean, I think the one thing we have established about it is that it is big.
It's big.
It is very big.
It's big. And 1,000,000 flowers, 1,000 flowers.
Much bigger than
the
4
style.
inches. Size matters. Size matters, Ryan. All right.
Okay,
Speaking of slightly sexy things, because obviously this is quite a sexy tapestry. Here's my fact. I'm just going to drop you a fact. You're going to have to
Sure, hit
just
me.
going to have to determine it. Originally, you could see Jesus's feet in The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci,
Oh,
but these were accidentally chopped off by builders. That's my fact. Jesus' feet were there on display for kink fetishists.
Oh. I mean, we're on the same, because my next fact's going to,
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Saucy.
Not really, but
You could see, why was his feet naked? Why would they be naked under the table?
all right. So I tend to think you might be telling the truth because the Last Supper is painted on a wall in a church, eh?
That's
in
right. The convent of Santa Maria della Grazie in Milan.
Milan, eh?
Mm.
And so that sucks because you can't move it around and take it to a museum. It's on a wall.
I mean, you can. People have done that with Banksy's. You know, it happens with Banksy's. They go and they put this like if Banksy paints on your wall,
Yeah.
you put this big perspex sheet there, and then the builders come and they chip the whole piece of wall straight out, and you sell it to someone for a staggering amount of money, and then you just build up a piece again. I actually, like living in London, I used to make a big deal about trying to spot the Banksys because there's actually still quite a few that you can see.
Oh, wow.
At least they were in 2008, 2009. I'm sure by now they've been desecrated or taken away or whatever.
Was this a guy's name?
What?
Banksy.
No, Banksy's the
it a
street artist.
street
He's
artist?
he does.
Oh, is he
those-
one dude?
Yeah, he's one dude.
not
He
a style of
no,
street art.
people don't know who he is, and he goes and he does these.
In London.
Yeah, but they're often these political kind of graffiti style. You know, you'll have seen them before. The little girl with the balloons, or the flower in the gun, or he's kind of quite famous style. But anyway,
But
I'm
have
totally
people-
detracting
Have
from the
people
fact
seen him actually
that Jesus'
doing it?
feet. No, nobody's seen him. That's the whole point. They just show up.
Fuck.
Yeah,
This
they
is
just show up,
great.
and then people, they don't know who he is, and it's a big deal. But yeah, Jesus' feet. More importantly, let's get back to the feet. Let's talk about Jesus'
fuck,
feet.
I've got a thing.
Do you think
next.
they looked like Hobbit feet? Do you think Leonardo da Vinci imagined dainty, pretty feet for our Lord and Savior? Or do you think he imagined calloused, hard knuckle feet?
Nah, you would have. You know, if the Last Supper, the Apostle John looks like a lady, which is what made Dan Brown go nuts, eh? Go absolutely nuts with a whole new line of books. So maybe the feminine feet thing, or it wasn't so gross. Plus, it was.
But would you put the
look.
feet? Would you put
Wow.
the feet front and center? If you're painting in a convent, would you put our Lord and Savior?
Maybe because he washed the feet at the Last Supper. He went around.
Yeah, but he
washing
didn't wash his own feet.
No, he didn't wash his own
He's not he's not an animal.
feet.
Who washes their own feet? You get the little bowl with the lemon in it at the spur, and you're like, he's not an animal. He probably had his Birkenstocks on.
I hope they didn't chop off the Lord's feet.
Yeah, look, if you were a builder, which part of the Lord would you chop off?
Yeah, let's see. Oops, that's a bit of a
It's a
mistake.
big mistake, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, builders, they're known for it, though. Builders,
I
they
think
always
it-
make these
I
sorts of
actually just-
mistakes, don't they?
I think it
They
just because
It's like that woman who painted they tried to restore that medieval artwork in Spain, and then
Oh,
she made
no.
that really famous, like, that hideous image.
Oh no!
And now that's a tourist attraction.
Oh,
Previously,
shit.
it had been a medieval artwork that everybody just basically ignored, and then this poor woman tried to restore it and made it an abomination.
Ooh.
And now people go and witness it because it's actually famous now.
How much rock art that we're witnessing is like, this is really old. Oh no, this was a lady with a Koki in 1957 who tried to fix
Yeah, most of this is from 1294. That bit over there,
Muriel with
from
her cokie.
2012.
Muriel's
I
daughter.
mean, that is what it looks like. Yeah, but wouldn't
No,
they
so-
then try and restore Jesus' feet if you were a builder? Because builders, listen, they do make mistakes all the time. They knock stuff down that they shouldn't have knocked down.
Yeah.
You know, they put the wrong tiles in. They
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna build around the Last Supper, the Pope himself is gonna be the foreman on the ground with his hard hat, saying, "Don't."
I mean,
Don't
that's
cock up.
assuming the painting was famous. You know, maybe it wasn't famous when these
Come
builders kind
on.
of pulled in and then chipped off the Lord's feet.
I'm gonna say that what made me think you might be telling the truth is because I happen to know, like at least half the world happens to know that it's painted on a wall.
Yes.
So
but that's
so that's
the builders wouldn't be able to.
possibility
The
there.
builders wouldn't be able to fuck it up if it wasn't painted on a wall. That's why I chose this one.
No, but I'm gonna say no. They don't chop off his feet. It's got to be horse shit. I'm saying it's a lie. Is it a lie? I got it right. You don't chop off the Lord's feet.
But you've changed your mind again.
I
Are you
did.
sure you
I
want to
did
do that?
change my mind again.
Are you sure you want to do
My
that? You
first
don't wanna-
instinct was, yeah, because it's on a wall. Fuck, maybe they did.
Yeah.
Second one, no, that's bullshit.
So you don't want to go back to your original.
No.
You're happy with your change. now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did chop off his feet.
No.
Yeah, you should have stuck with your original thing. Yeah, in 1652, while installing a doorway, builders cut the bottom center off the mural, which include Jesus' feet. So there you are. That's it. That's the whole fact.
Fuck,
They
man.
took his feet out. They didn't bother to put it back. They just didn't care enough about the Lord's
Was
feet.
it a neat layer that they
Yeah, well, they were putting a door in,
extracted?
right? So they cut it to the height of a door, and they
Hey,
didn't
let's
care.
put a door here.
Yeah.
Hey, what is this stupid painting? You don't take the bottom section out. Put the door there.
Ah, they just put the sexy feet over there, huh? Get those sexy feet out of the
These feet are
convent.
not for the Lord. No, it's some guys at a restaurant.
And suddenly, 10% of the nuns had to touch themselves in their rooms instead of in that, like, watching the painting.
Well.
So you shouldn't change your mind. Well, that's the one thing we've learned.
Shucks,
Both times
man.
you've changed your mind. Both times meant that you've been wrong.
So you were in Milan there.
I was
You were
in
in
Milan
because we
yeah.
went from Vienna to Paris, Milan. Hey, not so far to go now to go to Rome. A little bit south, I believe. Hey, can even get a bus.
Yeah, no, quite a bit south.
Lots south.
Mm.
Okay, because let's go to Rome. You're
Southeast.
going to Rome. You're going to a church. Would you believe it? A chapel
I mean, that's where most of the classic art is.
in Rome.
Mm.
Yeah. You're in San Luigi dei Francesi chapel. San Luigi dei Francesi. And you're looking at a painting by Michelangelo Merisi da Caravaggio. So it's actually Caravaggio. He was named Michelangelo after Michelangelo. And you're looking at a painting called The Calling of St. Matthew.
Okay.
And when you look to the right of that, you see the calling of St. Peter. And when you look to the right of that one, you see the calling of St. Thomas.
It's just oaks
Look
on
at
their
the-
phones. just guys like with a phone. But it's the calling and not necessarily the answering.
Yeah.
They've been there for a while. Maybe they've been put on hold.
And so actually that's my fact. It's the fact is that's part of my fact, and it's also called the Church of the Calling. Those three works
By
of
the
art.
calling, I assume you don't
Caravaggio.
mean the early 2000s band that sang "Wherever You May Go, way up high, down low." Is that what it is?
They're
Is
called
it-
the Calling.
Yeah, they're
that's
called
a
The
good name
Calling.
for a band. Good name for a band. Yeah, so those three famous works of art hang side by side in this chapel.
Is there
by
Jesus above them?
Caravaggio.
Is there like a God above them, like a shining light? Any kind of classic?
Yes, that's a nice question. I will happily answer that to yes. There's light plays a big role. The year they were pretty much finished, because they can trace it by the actual payment when he got his final payment, 1599 and 1600 when these things were finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm now, a bottle of beer deep. So I'm wondering if maybe I've got this fact right. But there's a painting, I think, by Caravaggio of Medusa's head.
Hmm.
And it's done in a shield as a reflection of Medusa's head as it's being chopped off in the shield. So it's kind of spraying blood out of the bottom of it.
Oh,
and it's supposed to be the last thing Medusa got a chance to see, because now her head has been cut off and she's reflecting in the
shield.
But my fact about that is, and I believe it's by Caravaggio, is that he used a male model for Medusa. Anyway,
a true little fact. This is a fun little fact on the side.
Just a little bonus fact, a little bonus Caravaggio fact.
So the Church of the Calling, also known as the San Luigi de Franceschi Chapel in Rome, is where you'll see 3 Caravaggios in a row: the Calling of St. Matthew, the Calling of St. Peter, and the Calling of St. Thomas. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, well, you haven't had any lies yet, which tempts me to say that you're lying now.
Not one about the Lord, though, hey?
No, hey? Would you dare? Would you risk eternal damnation on the basis of one little podcast lie? Look, I don't know. I don't know anything about this. I've never heard of these 3 paintings. For all I know, they could be by somebody else entirely. They could be. Are they like collector's cards? These did he make callings of, of all of the 12?
I got St. Matthew. What
can I trade you?
I got 2 St. Matthews. Got a St. Luke. I need a St. Luke. I got one in the lucky packet.
There's one at the Milanese cathedral. You get there. He's got spares, eh? He's got spares. He's got like a whole folder of spares. You want to get the whole 12. You want to get all 12 Caravaggio calling of.
I've got Roberto Baggio. He's not a saint. He's a soccer player, man.
If he'd scored that penalty, though, he would be a saint. Hey, one for the Italians.
So I had an Italian mate at school after that World Cup, 1994, and I came. The budding stand-up comedian in me said, "Hey, Aldo, Roberto Baggio is going to be in a new movie with Sylvester Stallone called Over the Top." Which was the...
I know, it must have killed back in 1994.
He never spoke to me for another year, hey.
Really?
Aldo.
Yes, it's Aldo. I hope you worked through those rage issues, Aldo. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure you're in prison now.
Yeah. All right, so there's my fact. What say you?
It's a lie. And I'm just saying that on the basis that you haven't lied yet.
Bugger, you're right. I am lying. So what you'll see is by Caravaggio, The Calling of St. Peter. Unfortunately, the next painting you'll see is called The Martyrdom of St. Matthew. Sorry, we're talking Matthew. The Calling of St. Matthew. The Martyrdom of St. Matthew is next. And then the Inspiration of St. Matthew is the third in the trilogy. But the painting is lovely. Okay, it's taken from, you never get much of the Bible, so I'm going to give you the Bible reading for today is Matthew 9:9. Ooh, Matthew 9:9. It's The Calling of St. Matthew. I have a Bible app. Look at this.
Also, I think the Martyrdom is available as an early 2000s band name.
So here's Matthew 9 and then verse 9. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," he told him. And Matthew got up and followed him.
Matthew should have stayed and paid his taxes. Listen, I'm going to put this out there. You don't just get up from the tax collector's booth and go home, go follow some carpenter. You sit, you go through your audit and you pay your taxes. Otherwise, you are going to jail.
It is a beautiful painting, though. It is a beautiful painting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one that's, you look at it and it moves you. And there's all sorts of questions around it. The one is like, firstly, which one is Matthew? So 2 guys enter a room and 4 guys are sitting at a table.
Oh, I've done these word quizzes before. Yeah. Which one is Matthew? One of them is the mother of the other 2.
and then there's one of them is St. Peter and the Lord who've entered the room, and some beautiful things to look out for in this painting.
So St. Peter and the Lord have entered.
Yeah, St. Peter as in...
And Jesus.
Yeah, so Jesus and
diggity.
Peter. There you go.
And then there's a tax booth, and Matthew's at the tax booth.
Yes.
He's just chilling at the tax booth.
Now, there's an old man at the tax booth.
Is that the tax collector?
Yeah. Well, there might all be tax collectors. There's a bit of mystery around it. So Jesus is pointing. And he opens the door and he points, and the light enters. So the light illuminates the the use of light is, I'm not an artist, but it is beautiful. The light illuminates this table of tax collectors. The light, the holy divine light.
Right.
And then the one old man, as he's pointing, goes, "What, me?" And so
She's like, chill, bro.
Yeah. So
the one with the 6-pack.
And so they're like, is Matthew pointing at himself? But everyone's looking at the Lord except one young man who's still down counting the shekels. And they think, so there's argument, which one's Matthew? The one who was...
Well, which one looks the most like the one in the martyrdom painting?
Well, there you go. That's the one theory, is they all look like the old man. So there goes that. But then he could have been older when he was martyred or something like that. But there's a bit of debate around it. I like that. So I've talked about the light, his use of light to show divine light and a calling and the light shining on him. The other nice thing to look out for is Jesus is barefoot. So all the tax collectors have shoes.
Look at his feet.
Jesus and Peter are barefoot and
wow, saucy.
What does that mean again?
How did we make this a theme of the podcast? Jesus' feet. We're hitting a certain niche of the internet now. Are basically like, fuck you guys.
And so... And so the significance of that is maybe, the Moses thing, take off your shoes, Moses, because you're standing on holy ground. So the barefoot meaning holy ground, holy.
Tax office is surely not holy ground.
No, but he's got no shoes because he's holy.
A lot of people pray there, though.
Yeah, and at casinos. At casinos.
Yeah.
And the other lovely thing to look out for in this painting is there's a New Testament theology saying that the one Adam messed up, so the second Adam fixed up, and the Lord being the second Adam because the first Adam messed up. So
who says that though? Like the cool pastors?
No, the New Testament.
Does it actually say? But does it say? The old Adam messed up, so then it's cool pastors who say that, isn't it? So
that's pastors. My original. Don't know cool pastors steal that from me.
It's pastors with guitars, chinos and guitars, and like check shirts
and cappuccinos afterwards.
That's right. Those are the guys that say that sort of stuff.
Because they have to have a loud auditorium because you have to drown out the cappuccino machines just off stage. I was going to grab a cappuccino, then I'll grab you in the service.
Nice. Those guys. Those are the guys who say the old Adam messed up, so the new Adam fixed up, or whatever it was.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jesus pointing is like that. And for those who are listening,
which is like a gun. he's like a gangster.
No, can you not see what I'm doing? It's the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, you heathen. Remember the God and Adam?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that hand matches his namesake Michelangelo. So that's the hand of
clever.
I thought so too. And that's what the scholars are saying, that it's an Adam thing.
Still, I quite like the theme of pop a cap in your ass.
The calling of Tupac.
Pop a cap in your ass, Matthew. Get your fucking heathen tax collector ass out here.
And that is all I have to say about the calling of Matthew. But I'm going to go there again. I'm going to Rome. Going to where did we say? This place. I'm going to the Museo de Cluny. Then I'm going to the Chapelle de San Luigi de Franceschi.
Wherever you may go, way up high. I hope that's the calling. I hope I remembered that correctly. I haven't heard that song in like 20 years. Anyway, right. So good.
Where are you taking us?
Well, where am I taking you?
You have to hop on a plane.
I'm actually taking us to every year from 1912 to 1948.
Ooh.
And specifically the Olympics.
Yay.
This is not about classic art at all. This is about the Olympics, and art is an Olympic event because art used to be an Olympic event.
Oh, you're talking
I'm saying for the purposes of this fact.
No, what a load of horse.
Just let me establish my fact, Ryan.
Okay, all right.
Art was an Olympic event from 1912 to 1948, and people would win medals for that, Ryan. And over 4 decades, juries awarded...
There's Thomas from Ukraine with his oil painting. It's a second stroke. Oh, he's making a mountain now.
Do you think they had an oil painting final? Like everyone had to load up and line up.
Well, Bob Ross would have. I've seen a few Bob Ross TikToks. He would have nailed all of this.
Crushed
Look
it.
what I'm going to do, Micken. those lovely mountains. Look at those mountains. Yeah, I'm making mountains now. Sun rays. Look at these forests. Just
multiple
hundreds of trees.
Olympic gold medalist Bob Ross steps up to the easel now.
Sorry, I'm being a doer.
Yeah. No. Anyway, continue. So I'm saying that there were 151 medals awarded for art in 5 categories: sculpture, painting, music, literature, and architecture during those 4 decades. In the end, it was stopped as an Olympic event in 1954, and you're not going to believe why, Ryan.
Well, because the paramedic ambulance thing just couldn't travel to all these places.
You think that people are getting too much carpal tunnel, just too many injuries? It's deemed too dangerous.
Yeah, oil paint in his eye or something.
They carried on boxing, but it was on a technicality that they stopped it.
But that's still part of your fact.
Yeah. No. None of this is my fact. This is my establishing.
Oh
stuff.
No! Oh, come on! I'm ready to call lie. Okay.
This is my establishing stuff. Yeah, it was stopped on a technicality in 1954 because artists were deemed to be professionals and the Olympics was for amateurs. So that's why it was stopped in 1954, that thing. But here's my actual fact. This bit is my actual fact.
This is outrageous.
It became so popular for sportsmen to enter their own art in the art section that there are a total of 21 medalists who've won awards in both the sporting and art sections of the competition, if you believe the competition existed at all.
This is such like your foundational stuff, which I said is not true. You said is.
I'm just saying it's just casual fun. No, I didn't say it was true.
So
I just said it's foundational.
Could be cuck.
My fact can't exist without the foundational
so
stuff.
The foundation could be a lot of cuck?
I can't just drop you. People have 21 people have won medals for art and sports without that other stuff. It's all part of the fact. It's all part of the same thing. It's all part of,
I can call it
part of the game, but
I can call it all bollocks if I want to. Hey,
if you want to, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't though, because it's it's obviously true.
My question. To me, other pursuits were crowned by the Nobel Prize. But when did that start? And did that include art straight away and sculpture and that sort of thing? But
well, think about it. It definitely happened before 1912, right?
But the Olympics, it was always about, greatness. But was it always about greatness in sport and nothing else? And no, it's got to be a lot of bollocks. I don't think art or sculpture or anything like that was ever an Olympic event. No ways. The whole thing's an elaborate lie. No. Nobel Prize, maybe. No. That's all I have to say about that.
But Ryan, this is your first thought.
Yeah.
Don't you want to delve a little deeper? Scratch the surface a little. Start questioning your initial decision.
Look, okay. So all I know about, the only footage I've seen of early Olympics is the Jesse Owens stuff from the 1936.
Very famous architecture section.
No, 1936 was all about the stadium in Berlin.
That's right.
Jesse
the architecture
Owens.
and the design of the stadium in Berlin.
No. No medals were awarded. Not athletes who've submitted this. That's a lot of cock. Some bodybuilder, some weightlifter from East Germany.
I'm going to say it was the weightlifters. Let's be honest. I wouldn't push it that far. I don't expect anybody to believe it was a weightlifter.
No, it's all a great big lie. And well done. It's a great, because it's not easy to put a big tale like that together. It's like creating a fantasy like Lord of the Rings or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Gallery.
Yeah.
Look at us. It's an elaborate world that you have to create. And like the Olympics once had, it's a lovely concept, but it's a lie.
But if I said to you, art was an Olympic event, that's a fact, you can take it as read, then would that change your mind?
I don't believe it ever was. Ever. The Olympics is early, is a modernish thing. It's like 1900s.
Yeah,
maybe
but
late
from 1912 to 1948.
No. Art, no.
All right, well.
It's all a lie, it's all a lie, it's all a lie.
All the stuff about art being an Olympic event is true. All of it. Why it ended, true because they were deemed professionals. It's all true.
What?
The only lie there is a lie in there. So in the end, you do get the
Okay.
point. There is a lie in there. Is that only 2 people have won sporting and artistic Olympic medals, not 21. But otherwise, all of it's true. All of it's true. Yeah, in fact, at the first one in 1912, they received only 35 submissions from artists because it was brand new when they first started, took art things. But by 1928, they received over 1,000 submissions. And the way that it worked was that the host city would assign their own jury, and the jury would look at all the submissions and then award medals based on
categories.
On those 5 categories and on what they thought was excellence. And as I say, they awarded 151 medals for 151 medals for art over those 4 decades. And only 2 of them were ever won by people who won sporting events. There was an American by the name of Walter Winans, he lived in England. He won a gold medal as a marksman at the 1908 Summer Olympics in the running deer double shot competition.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and in 1912, he won another shooting medal, silver this time in the running deer competition. But by then, he'd already won a gold medal for his sculpture called An American Trotter. It was of a little like deer pulling a carriage of some sort. The other Olympian with success in both fields is Alfred Hachosch of Hungary. As a swimmer, he won 2 golds in 1896, and 28 years later, he was awarded a silver medal in architecture for his stadium design, co-designed with Dessau Laubscher.
Good grief, man.
So there you go. That's
great facts.
That's it. That's art.
Fantastic
art in the Olympics.
Art in the Olympics.
Yeah, and as I said, they literally cancelled it because they were like, oh no, the artists are professionals. And some quite famous artists won medals at the Olympics. But they cancelled it because the artists were professionals. But now, obviously, they've got some fields where you're allowed to be a professional athlete and other fields where you're not. Like football, the countries all send their under-21 teams because they're deemed to not be professional. They're deemed to be amateur sides.
Oh, yeah.
They can't send their professional high-level sides. Whereas like tennis you can send Serena Williams if you want.
And our golf's the same. You can send your pros to
and even you think about the sprint events and the swimming events. That's what those guys do for a living. So bring back art. Bring back art as an Olympic event.
No, why not, man?
I mean, not that I would stand a chance. I'm shit at architecture.
Me
the
too.
only bridge I ever built was connected Crimea to the Russian peninsula, and
and look what that
keeps falling down. Nobody will take any blame for blowing it up. So officially, it just keeps falling down. I don't know why.
Oh man. Well, that was a lovely fact about art in the Olympics, and it was all over the place because Olympics are all over the place. So there goes our. But where was I last in Europe? I was in Rome. So we're gonna go to France, to the coast, and we're gonna take a ferry across to the British Isles.
Okay.
We have to take a train to Liverpool. Or just take a boat around. I don't know.
And then once you're in Liverpool, fuck off because there's no art in Liverpool. No, it's actually been the European. It's been the European capital of art actually one year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lovely. You won't believe. Our recurring themes, and I've got one here that I always love to talk about,
which is the Beatles.
It's Dante.
Oh, Dante's Inferno.
Not his Inferno.
Oh, really? Did Dante live a while in Liverpool?
No. So the painting is in. Let's see where it is housed. I'll tell you now. It's in the Liverpool Museum. Is a painting called Dante and Beatrice by a chap called
Beatrice. Is it not Beatrice?
No, Beatrice.
Are you sure? Did you look that up?
Yeah, that's how they say it in Italian. It's Beatrice. But in Italy we say Beatrice.
Beatrice. Are you sure? Have you heard an audiobook?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna because I know nothing about it. I'm just giving you grief for no reason.
So before he wrote the Divine Comedy, he wrote a book, a series of poems and prose called La Vita Nuova, the New Life, I think. But it was all about his infatuation with a girl called Beatrice, and which turned out to be some sort of very sad, unrequited love. But this is Dante in 1294, and it was the beginnings of, not only did he give rise to the Italian language, but he popularized the idea of courtly love, romance and stuff.
It's actually the fourth panel in the Caravaggio series. Dante and Matthew.
The love that shall not be named.
Well, who knows? Between a young, handsome man and an old, wealthy one.
Okay, so this is in a museum in Liverpool, and the painter's name is Holiday, and this was in 1883. He painted a picture called Dante and Beatrice, and it is inspired by a story in La Vita Nova where Dante tries to make Beatrice jealous by looking at other women. Meantime, he's infatuated by her.
Right.
So she decides to walk past him with her friends, her one friend and her maidservant, but she ignores Dante completely. And it's that moment that is captured in this painting, Dante and Beatrice, of her ignoring him. But even though he's infatuated by her, he told the story of her. And that's the painting, which is in Liverpool by a chap called Holiday. You want to know my fact?
Yes, please.
My fact.
So you're saying all of that is fact? That's all established fact?
Yeah, my fact is that he messed up a bit when it came to the symmetry and perspective of the picture, and so he had to fix it up by inserting this is crazy, inserting scaffolding into the painting to sort of correct his perspective and symmetry cock up.
This is definitely a Ryanism. If it's a lie, it's a Ryanism, and it's not scaffolding he inserted. It's something even more ridiculous than scaffolding. He inserted, I don't know, a cat or something. That's what I think it is. I think it's a Ryaning. What is the thing? What's the thing?
Okay, so is my fact true or not?
No, your fact is a lie because of exactly what I'm saying. He didn't use scaffolding. He used something else.
Well, my fact is a lie, but it's a beautiful story. There's scaffolding in the painting because he actually traveled from Liverpool to Florence, where Dante and Beatrice grew up. And it turns out he discovered that in the 13th century, the Lugarno, the street on the north side of the river Arno, between Ponte Vecchio, which is a bridge seen in the background, and the Ponte Santa Trinita was paved with bricks, and there were shops in the area. These are also shown in the painting. It's beautiful historical kind of that effort. He also learned that the Ponte Vecchio had been destroyed in a flood in 1235. It was being rebuilt between 1285 and 1290, and in the painting, it is shown covered in scaffolding.
Like as in being repaired.
Yeah.
So he's dated like a very specific.
Yeah, because that story in the La Vita Nova would have taken place in those years, and then you're like, okay, there's the bridge.
So it would have been like that.
They would have been like that. That's why there's scaffolding in the
amazing.
painting. It is amazing.
Really incredible. That's why it's in a museum rather than, say, I don't know, somebody's bathroom.
Well, I think it's in a museum because it's also beautiful.
Yeah, but it would be less beautiful if it was historically inaccurate.
Yeah. His surname is Holiday, British painter. That's his surname. It's in a Liverpool museum. I'm going to go there as well and look at it.
No doubt you are. I wouldn't go to Liverpool. I mean, what for? Like, really? Unless you're a fan of the football club or the Beatles, say. What you going to do in Liverpool?
I've actually found some more interesting stuff. It is based on Dante's. This is just facts around in case I bumbled about the facts. So Holiday's painting based on Dante's 1294 autobiographical work La Vita Nova, which describes his love for Beatrice Portinari. Dante concealed his love by pretending to be attracted to other women. The painting depicts an incident when Beatrice, having heard gossip relating to this, refuses to speak to him. The event is shown as Beatrice and two other women walk past the Santa Trinita bridge in Florence. Beatrice wears a white dress and walks beside her friend Mona Vanna, with Beatrice Beatrice's maidservant slightly behind.
But hang
it
on,
is
hang on,
beautiful.
hang on. So what
It
you're saying is
beautiful.
she didn't like him. But when she heard rumors that he was looking at other women, she got angry with him.
Yes. Because maybe they did like it.
This podcast is about to become a Joe Rogan podcast. We're about to start talking about ladies and women. Like, we're going to be like, you play the role of Jordan Peterson and be like, but ladies,
It's kind of, yeah, what is this? Yeah, they're kind of, okay, the data. When we look at the data, then the data's shown that women are most happy when they're cooking. Women are just happy when they're cooking.
Yeah. No, that's it. You want this podcast to get hatred. That's the way to do it. Let's attract angry YouTube. Let's get angry YouTube here. Here's my multiple choice.
I need to work on my Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, we do. We both do.
Yeah.
Perhaps by actually watching his videos as opposed to just marking them. No, we won't do that. There's only so many days I have left in my life. All right. Here's my multiple choice fact. Robert Del Naya or Del Naja of the band Massive Attack, Thierry Guetta, the star of Exit Through the Gift Shop, and Bristol artist Robin Gunningham have one thing in common. What is it?
Sure.
One, they're each accused of being Banksy, who you wouldn't have heard of before this podcast.
Word.
Two, they each own artworks bought for pennies at sales that turned out to be worth a fortune.
Jeez.
Three, they have each been arrested for incidents of art vandalism. Four, they each carry a royal warrant of appointment for their art.
Man, that's wonderful. Just mention those names again one more
All
time.
right, so it's Robert Del Naya of the band Massive Attack,
Mhm.
Thierry Guetta,
I know
the
that
star of Exit Through the Gift Shop, and Bristol, England artist Robin Gunningham. They have one thing in common. What is it? Is it one, they're accused of being Banksy? Two, they each own artworks bought for pennies at sales that turned out to be worth a fortune. Three, they've each been arrested for incidents of art vandalism. Four, they each carry a royal warrant of appointment for their art.
Shit. Massive Attack, they come from Birmingham, eh?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
That sound was a
Is that a
Birmingham
Birmingham
sound.
thing?
Yeah.
Huh, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's good music, I believe. I only know like one song, but it's very good. So what is it? What did they do? Massive Attack. Maybe it's vandalism. Maybe vandalism, art vandalism. I don't think it's a royal warrant. Don't think it's Banksy. Well, that could be nice. Banksy and the one's creating, the one's destroying. It's graffiti. And then the other one was a weirdly phrased fact, little option. It was
they each own artworks
arrested.
bought for pennies at sales
that.
that have turned out to be worth a fortune.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Banksy. No. Maybe Banksy. No, I'm going to say arrested for art vandalism. That's my answer.
You don't want to change it. I just, I know you like to change your mind sometimes. I thought I'd give you an opportunity to think about it a little bit.
No. Gonna stick with it.
You think these artists are all the kind of people who would damage another artist's work?
Okay, so you're giving me a chance to change it. Okay, I'm going to say that all is suspected of. Okay, it's fine. Massive Attack, because they're deep artists, they wouldn't fuck up.
Yeah,
okay,
no.
so maybe they are all maybe
why would they do
potentially
that, right?
Banksy. They're all potentially Banksy. I'm going to change it. They're all potentially Banksy.
Are you confident now? Because you've changed everyone you changed. You've
Yeah.
been right, and then you changed it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, Banksy. I think that they bought art. No, they don't bother buying art. No.
No, of course they could have bought art. I mean, if you're an artist, and you recognize a good piece of art. But yeah, the fact is what I'm saying isn't just that they recognize a good piece of art. It's that the piece of art that they bought on sale turned out to be like by a famous artist
shit.
or like a good, a really like valuable piece of
Banksy.
art.
Banksy's my option.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's your final answer?
Yes.
You're happy with that?
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Changing your mind has turned out to be
you
the answer.
helped me there.
Yeah, no problem at all. So all of the accusations are actually plausible. They've all got like believable reasons for why they could each be Banksy. However, criminologists at London's Queen Mary University have used a technique called geographic profiling to identify the street artist and Bristol resident Robin Gunningham as being most likely to be.
This is like flipping
Banksy,
the dude, the Jack the Ripper, hey?
It's pretty much, yeah. But I mean, geographic profiling, it's like it's a proper statistical analysis technique, and it's used by criminology departments to locate offenders, like repeat offenders. And officially, that's what Banksy is. He's a repeat offender because he vandalizes public spaces with graffiti. So anyway, the researchers looked for a correlation between 140 artworks in London and Bristol attributed to Banksy, and 10 commonly talented names purported to be the elusive street artist. And they believe that Robin Gunningham is the guy.
Wow. Oh, that's fantastic.
So
Jeez, huh?
Yeah.
But that's based on that one little theory.
No, so they looked at the 10 most likely guys, and I mean, there's a couple people who have stories where they claim they ran into him, prepping a work. There's even a photo or two or a video or two of guys, that could be him. But seeing somebody who could be him and then identifying them are two totally different things. But so this is criminology department reckons it's that Robin Gunningham guy.
Well. My multiple choice, we're just going to hop over the channel if you don't mind. We're going to go not far over the channel. We're going to go to the Netherlands for Mr. Van Gogh, shame, who spent a lot of his adult artistic life in France anyways, and Belgium a little bit. But what was three simple options, not even 4 multiple choice, 3. What was his favorite
Couldn't
thing?
be asked. Just too lazy to invent a fourth one.
No.
Just so lazy.
Yeah. What was his favorite thing to
Vincent
paint?
van Gogh.
Was it landscapes, portraits, or still life? What was his favorite? Oh, Vincent. What's his favorite? Landscapes, still life, portraits. He did a lot.
He did a bunch of all of them.
He did a lot of all of them. Yeah. See, he did in 10 years. He did 2,100 paintings.
Yeah, the things you can get through when you're not employed. This is the thing is we don't realize
every day and a half. It's a lot, man. But of course, he found his vibe. He found his style really, really well toward the end, which is where he did the.
Listen, if you painted 2,000 paintings, you would also find your style.
Yeah. It's a lot of oil, washed down into the.
His brother
Rotterdam
basically
Canal.
Just paid for him to arse around and paint stuff. Because by the time
I
he
hope
died,
his brother owns it. I hope his brother's family now own that shit. So it was an investment. My older brother, younger brother, who's doing nothing with his life, sitting in his room.
Just keep paying for him to do this stuff. It's very nice of him. I'm going to say landscapes. Because there's definitely he certainly liked to get out and stand around a bit, paint some shit. I don't think he necessarily liked to stay inside and paint inside, simply because the paintings of the famous flat ones of his room, they're just of his room. It's not like if he was painting a lot of still life, a lot of like that sort of thing. He would have gone to the effort of setting up more stuff. Only really the sunflower sort of grabs you because that's seven still life. All on the exact same theme.
Yeah.
But I feel like landscapes had to be his jam because he was constantly getting out there and studying light and all that.
He was, yeah. There's a one called the Vineyard, the Olive Grove or something.
Yeah.
It's a very
and even
famous
Starry Night, right?
Oh, very much, yeah. Landscape. Well, the correct answer is, in fact, it's portraits. Weirdly. This is what he said.
It began with portraits, ended with portraits.
He said portraiture was his greatest interest. What I'm most passionate about, much more than all the rest in my profession, he wrote in 1890, is the portrait, the modern portrait. It is the only thing in painting that moves me deeply and that gives me a sense of the infinite. He wrote to his sister that he wished to paint portraits that would endure, and he would use color to capture their emotions and character, rather than aiming for photographic realism.
The only thing that gave him a sense of the infinite, and this is the guy who painted Starry Night. Clearly mental.
No, definitely. And
that's definitely the politically correct term. Clearly mental.
He tried to see a real transcendent purpose in art, like touching beyond reality, and he took it obviously quite seriously, probably so much so that it drove him a bit nuts. Like
One feels he was probably a bit like
Yeah, he did.
loose cannon to begin with, because he didn't have a job. He never had a job. Get a job. Like, leave home, get a job. Don't phone your brother every second day and ask him for more oil paintings. Like, oh, please, I've painted fucking 40 paintings since I spoke to you last week. Please, can I have another?
You're just enabling him.
Stop sending
Vincent's brother.
money for oil paints.
Yeah, he must go and work at the Truworths.
That's right. That's right. And they're hiring cashiers down at the spa. Like, I stop asking about the Olive Groves painting the stars and get a fucking job. It's been 20 years now.
But listen to his
He gave it his best. He's like, oh, but what happens if I could be famous? No, you've had 20 fucking years painting the transcendence of your landlady. Get your ass to work.
The transcendence of your landlady.
We're not.
Yeah, because he painted eventually he ran out of models and painted the postman a few times.
Yeah, you see. How many paintings do we need of the fucking postman,
The postman
Vincent?
was fired.
I
'cause he was
have a
late.
job. Do you know how we pay for these oils? I have a job, Vincent. And I send you a multitude of oils, and you know what you did with them? 18 paintings of the fucking postman.
I was going to give something meaningful now, but I can't follow that. No, okay, I will try. Here's that deeper meaning thing that he was searching that is explained here. Charles Blanc's treatise on color interested Vincent greatly and led him to work with complementary colors. Van Gogh came to the belief that the effect of color went beyond the descriptive. He said that color expresses something in itself. According to Hughes, Van Gogh perceived color as having a psychological and moral weight, as exemplified in the garish reds and greens of the Night Cafe, a work he wanted to express the terrible passions of humanity. The Night Cafe. Ooh.
All right, I was wrong. 50% of the money went to oils, and the other 50% went drugs. Hard drugs.
Yellow meant the most to him because it symbolized emotional truth. He used yellow as a symbol for sunlight, life, spiritual matters.
Sunflowers.
Yeah.
Even his room is yellow in that,
Really?
that painting as well, yeah.
Yellow.
Yeah.
That's probably where those oaks got that song from. It was all yellow. Must be.
Oh, yeah, Coldplay.
Coldplay.
How'd you bring them into a podcast about art?
Because they're Birmingham.
Hey,
No, I'm joking. I don't know where they're from.
Coldplay fans, let us know. Should they be here? Thank you very much, Ryan. This has been great.
And I'm glad Vincent never got a job at the spa as a cashier.
I know, thank goodness. Thank goodness. That's why billionaires need to start patronizing artists and paying
Yes.
for them so they don't have to get jobs at the spa as cashiers.
Yes.
And that's us. Thank you very much for joining us. Like, click, subscribe, share, all the rest of that stuff.
Lovely.
And we will catch you next week on
Yep.
What's the Fact.
Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you soon. Ciao.
Bye-bye.